Aton is the disk of the sun in ancient Egyptian mythology, and originally an aspect of the god Ra. The deified Aton is the focus of the monolatristic, henotheistic, monistic or monotheistic religion of Atonism established by Amenhotep IV, who later took the name Akhenaten in worship and recognition of Aton. In his poem, Great Hymn to the Aton, Akhenaten praises Aton as the creator, giver of life, and nurturing spirit of the world. Aton does not have a creation myth or family, but is mentioned in the Book of the Dead. The worship of Aton was eradicated by Horemheb. Overview. The Aton, the sun disk, is first referred to as a deity in the story of Sinai from the 12th dynasty, in which the deceased king is described as rising as God to the heavens and uniting with the sun disk, the divine body merging with its maker. By analogy, the term silver Aton was sometimes used to refer to the moon. The solar Aton was extensively worshipped as a god in the reign of Amenhotep III, when it was depicted as a falcon-headed man much like Ra. In the reign of Amenhotep III's successor, Amenhotep IV, the Aton became the central god of Egyptian state religion, and Amenhotep IV changed his name to Akhenaten to reflect his close link with the new supreme deity. The full title of Akhenaten's god was Ra-Horikti, who rejoices in the horizon. In his name as the light which is in the sun disk, this lengthy name was often shortened to Ra-Horus Aton or just Aton in many texts. But the god of Akhenaten raised to supremacy is considered a synthesis of very ancient gods viewed in a new and different way. The god is also considered to be both masculine and feminine simultaneously. All creation was thought to emanate from the god and to exist within the god. In particular, the god was not depicted in anthropomorphic form, but as rays of light extending from the sun's disk. Furthermore, the god's name came to be written within a cartouche, along with the titles normally given to a pharaoh. Another break with ancient tradition, Ra-Horus, more usually referred to as Ra-Horikti, is a synthesis of two other gods, both of which are attested from very early on. During the Amarna period, this synthesis was seen as the invisible source of energy of the sun god, of which the visible manifestation was the Aton, the solar disk. Thus Ra-Horus Aton was a development of old ideas which came gradually. The real change, as some see it, was the apparent abandonment of all other gods, especially Ammon, and the debatable introduction of monotheism by Akhenaten. The syncretism is readily apparent in the Great Hymn to the Aton, in which Re-Herakti, Shu and Aton are merged into the creator god. Others see Akhenaten as a practitioner of an Aton monolatry. As he did not actively deny the existence of other gods, he simply refrained from worshipping any but the Aton. Religion. Principles of Aton's religion were recorded on the rock tomb walls of Akhenaten. In the religion of Aton, night is a time to fear. Work is done best when the sun, Aton, is present. Aton cares for every creature, and created a Nile river in the sky for the Syrians. Aton created all countries and people. The rays of the sun disk only holds out life to the royal family. Everyone else receives life from Akhenaten and Nefertiti in exchange of loyalty for Aton. When a good person dies, she continues to live in the city of light for the dead in Akhenaten. The conditions are the same after death. Akhenaten judged whether someone should be granted an afterlife, and operated the scale of justice. The explanation as to why Aton could not be fully represented was that the god has gone beyond creation. Worship. The cult center of Aton was at the new city Akhenaten. Some other cult cities include Thebes and Heliopolis. The principles of Aton's cult were recorded on the rock walls of tombs of Tall al-Amarna. Significantly different from other ancient Egyptian temples, temples of Aton were colorful and open-roofed to allow the rays of the sun. Doorways had broken lintels and raised thresholds. No statues of Aton were allowed, those were seen as idolatry. Priests had less to do, since offerings were limited, and oracles were not needed. Temples of Aton did not collect tax. In the worship of Aton, the daily service of purification, anointment and clothing of the divine image was not performed. Incense was burnt several times a day. Hymns sung to Aton were accompanied by harp music. Aton's ceremonies in Aton involved giving offerings to Aton with a swipe of the royal scepter. Instead of bark processions, the royal family rode on a chariot on festival days. Royal titulary. During the Amarna period, the Aton was given a royal titulary, with his names drawn in a cartouche. There were two forms of this title. The first had the names of other gods, and the second later one which was more singular, and referred only to the Aton himself. The early form has Re-Horicht, who rejoices in the horizon, in his name Shu, which is the Aton. The later form has Re, ruler of the two horizons, who rejoices in the horizon, in his name of light, which is the Aton. Variant translations, high relief and low relief illustrations of the Aton show it with a curved surface. Therefore, the late scholar Hugh Nibley insisted that a more correct translation would be globe, orb or sphere, rather than disc. The three-dimensional spherical shape of the Aton is even more evident when such reliefs are viewed in person, rather than merely in photographs. There is a possibility that Aton's three-dimensional spherical shape depicts an eye of Horus, Ra. In the other early monotheistic religion Zoroastrianism, the sun is called Ahura Mazda's eye. These two theories are compatible with each other, since an eye is an orb. Variant vocalizations. Egyptologists have vocalized the word variously as Aton, Aton, Itonu, and Itn. Names derived from Aton Akhenaton, effective spirit of the Aton, Akhenaton, horizon of the Aton, Akhenaton's capital. The archaeological site is known as Amarna, Ankhesenpaten. Her life is of the Aton, Baketaten, handmaid of the Aton, Meritaten, she who is beloved of the Aton, Maketaten, behold the Aton, or protected by Aton, Neferneferuaten, the most beautiful one of Aton, Partenamheb, the Aton on Jubilee, Tutankhaten, living image of the Aton, original name of Tutankhamun, Silver Aton, the moon,